Hi guys! Welcome to our live chat. Tune in with Ran and Dave. Let's unzip a topic. I'm Ranjini.
And I'm Devapriya.
And today we are here to unzip our episode
Number 13.
Yes, that's right.
Yep.
So I'm back. We are back at our venue. We're back together after 2 weeks, is it?
2 weeks,
okay,
yes.
2 weeks we are back together. I'm back to KL. So we're gonna share I'm gonna share my screen as per usual. So just a moment.
Oh, it's so good to feel, the great ambience being together and conduct the show.
Yeah.
I'm sure the viewers would like it. Again.
Oops, just a moment.
Yes.
Some
coordination missing. All right.
So this is our logo, and this program is powered by MyNaps, Malaysia's best online learning platform.
And you can access MyNaps whenever you want. The link will be available in our comment box later.
Yep.
Yeah.
So today's episode is
ta-da!
Social media revolution. Yay or nay? So the panelist
is going to be Miss Anita Spring. I'm sure the viewers are quite familiar with her because this is not the first time, but second time she is on our show as a panelist, and we're very proud of that.
Yeah.
So perhaps you can talk about who is Miss Anita Spring.
Miss Anita Spring, if you guys remember, she joined us exactly 10 weeks ago in episode 3 to speak about English.
Yes.
And today we have brought her again to speak about very, very interesting topic, and I'm sure all of you guys will be interested as well, which is social media revolution.
Yep.
She's a Canadian education specialist, co-founder and global education director for Sponsor a Child with Woogie English.
You're right.
So without delaying, shall we invite her on?
Sure.
Okay. I'm going to stop sharing this.
So this brilliant lady is already ready for us on the stream. Here she is.
Hi, Miss Anita.
Hello everyone.
How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Yeah,
So,
very well.
Welcome to our show once again, and it's a great privilege to have you back again in our episode number 13, exactly after 10 episodes, and you're still looking great, gorgeous as before. Yes.
And by the way, it's good morning there, guys. So thank you very much for spending your morning, the first thing with us, tuning with Ran and Dave.
Again, yes.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah, it's going to be a great topic. Great topic.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. So before we start, I would like to share a video about social media. I mean, when people hear about social media, the first thing, if it's for me and most, I believe, is definitely Facebook. And Mark Zuckerberg.
Yes.
So I'm going to share a short video on that. So I'm going to share the screen.
So perhaps the viewers will have a picture of
Okay. Hi, Anita.
Hi.
So that was a technical glitch. I'm so sorry for that. Yes.
That's okay.
Okay, so sorry guys. So we're just going to correct
Restart
it.
again,
So Priya, you can take over for a while. So
yes.
so what do you think about? Okay, I have this on, so we are all set
So
to
it shouldn't
share
be a
this
problem.
again.
we go again.
I'm going to reshare it again.
Yes.
So let's give it a
Okay.
shot. Looks like Mr. Mark Zuckerberg do not
Yes.
want to join our view. It's working, I hope.
And now there's a new
There he
form of
is.
cyber matchmaking, college networking websites. Is this perhaps the next big thing? At Hartford, Dan Stillman, co-creator of Wesleyan University's westmatch.com, and then in Watertown,
Look at him.
Massachusetts, Mark Zuckerberg, creator of Harvard's thefacebook.com. And I guess we'll start with you, Dan. What compelled you to do this?
Well, sophomore year, I was sitting around contemplating a romantic dry spell, and I realized that with my friend Matt, and I realized that it would be easier to find a girlfriend if I could just search in a database for what I wanted.
Did it work?
One,
Did it
we're
work?
still perfecting it.
That's what Westmatch is, right? This is something where people enter all of their information on questionnaires that they kind of fill out for you.
Yeah,
Tell us
but-
just a little bit about what Westmatch is.
Sure. People, students at our school and now several other schools, lay this questionnaire about what they're looking for in others, and they describe themselves and they say what's important. And then our site comes back and tells them they are most compatible people in the entire school. And now, since we've started expanding to other schools, they can now test their compatibility and do other things with students across the nation.
Okay, Mark, we want to get you in here in a second, but real quickly, we do want to talk about what Dan's talking about, some of those questionnaires that you asked people about. Let's just take a look real quickly at some of them. First of all, one of the potential questions, awareness of current events. You could check off one of these. George Bush was that guy that did that thing with that intern. Well, I read the news on occasion, and I read the news every day. So there's some of the
It's a sort of
potential
contemporary
questionnaires.
evaluation of what's going on. Mark, if somebody was to put the question to you about the magnitude of what you think you've launched, how big do you think your product or your service is?
Well, it's impossible to tell. When we first launched, we were hoping for, maybe 400, 500 people. Harvard didn't have a Facebook, so that's the gap that we were trying to fill. And now we're at 100,000 people, so who knows where we're going next. We're hoping to have many more universities by fall, hopefully over 100 or 200. And from there, we're going to launch a bunch of side applications, which should keep people coming back to the site and maybe can make something cool.
What is the Facebook exactly?
It's an online directory that connects people through universities and colleges through their social networks there. You sign on, you make a profile about yourself by answering some questions, entering some information such as your concentration or major at school, contact information about phone numbers, instant messaging screen-ins, anything you want to tell, interests, what books you like, movies, and most importantly, who your friends are. And then you can browse around and see who people's friends are and just check out identities and see how information about people.
Dan, do you make any money?
We do. We license the site to other schools, and we run the site and provide it for them for the semester for all of their students. We actually create a customized site for their school, so it feels like a personal customized site that is not some sketchy dating site that people might not use, but really feels like something that everyone in the community can do. And we have between 70 and 90% of all the schools are on the site.
Okay. Dan Stillman, Mark Zuckerberg with us talking about the online social networking business. With us, Bullseye continues on CNBC right after this.
All right. So that was like, I don't know
How many years ago?
Yeah,
that
how many
was?
years ago? And I wonder how
Okay,
young
Mark
was
Zuckerberg.
But again, that was very, I would say that was the beginning of everything. I still remember that the first social media, which was like the thing among the high school student, because when Facebook first came in, it was like when I was in high school.
Mhm.
So it was called Friendster.
Yes.
Yeah, in Malaysia, the first was Friendster. So
Friend.
that's how it started, and it evolved, and Facebook became the thing. So
And
we're gonna-
from the video, we can see the initial idea for Facebook is totally different.
yes,
But now look at the role the social media is playing, because
uh-huh.
wherever you go, social media is playing a huge role in every industry, in every sector.
Yeah.
But the beginning of the Facebook, what the initial idea of Mark Zuckerberg bring to the world is totally different.
Yes.
It's just evolving throughout these years.
Yeah.
So it's amazing to see where the social media playing a huge role nowadays,
Yeah.
even in this
So-
lockdown especially.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So let's speak speak about it further with Miss Anita Spring. So, hi, Miss Anita. So, we're going to direct the first question to you on brief outline on social media history and what are the types of social medias and its function.
Well, I'm first going to start by bringing up something that Mark Zuckerberg mentioned just in passing, but it's more important today than it was then, and you probably didn't even realize what he was saying. But he says, what we end up with is a lot of information about people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So that, as social media has developed, that whole idea of gathering information about people and privacy and all of those things have now come into it. And people now just take for granted that all of their information is out there, and privacy and everything else has taken on a different, and let's face it, there have been some issues where social media companies are obviously getting tons of information about people. What are they doing with that information? Now, as you pointed out, Deb, the social media is everywhere in every industry, and so it's become very useful. And I think one of the other questions that you guys had for me was, what's the other side of social media? There's obviously positive and negative, right?
Yep.
So I just wanted people to keep in mind the idea of information gathering, and think, as we talk about this, think about how you feel about that. Okay, but for me, it's very different because I'm from a different generation than you are from. And when I grew up, I was outside riding my horse, running in fields. Social media was sitting with my sisters under a tree and telling each other stories, or taking a film to the drugstore and getting it developed and showing the pictures to anyone that we could show them to. Right? It was totally different, and so childhood was very active, very, very different. And nowadays childhood is this, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So
Totally agree.
I'm very involved in social media. As far as how I feel about it for childhood in particular, I'm still on, I just wish, anyway, never mind.
Let's not go there.
Yeah.
I'm just going to read a quick definition. Social media are interactive web 2.0 internet-based applications. Okay, so, and this is important, user-generated content. So all of a sudden, we're just not being fed stuff from an outside source, whether it's the news or the weather or sports or anything else. People actually finally have a say. And so the content on social media, it's important to know, is user generated. Text posts, comments. Okay, so you can post something and someone can comment back. You can share your digital photos. You don't have to go to the drugstore and get the film developed. You can share videos, and all of the lifeblood of social media is all these interactions that are created and shared out there. And so you get to know, as Mark Zuckerberg said, and the fellow in the interview, they just wanted to meet girls, They wanted to find a way to find out about people. And so social media really, some people say it started back with the telegraph and the telephone, but that wasn't really social media. Then people started blogging. I don't know, you girls remember blogging? Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yes.
people used to be able to say, well, gee, I'm an artist, or I'm a cook, or I'm traveling, and I want to let the world know what I'm doing. And they found it so exciting that people could actually read and see what they were doing and comment on it. And so this communication, like it never existed before. And then as the internet, as you know, is all over the world, and look at what we're doing here. We're Malaysia and Canada, right? So content based on what people are doing. Okay, their user base. So yeah, Facebook always comes to mind because that 2.7 or 2.9 billion people now. You know, almost half the people in the world are on Facebook. There are other ones like Twitter and
Instagram and
Snapchat. Actually,
Yeah.
Instagram and WhatsApp,
Yeah.
which is also very
Belongs
popular,
to Facebook.
they've both been bought by Facebook, and
Yes.
they're around 400 or 500 million. So there's lots of users on them, but compared to Facebook, still, it's very okay. Again, there are two things about that definition that I just read. It must include online communication. That's why telegraph and sitting in restaurants and telephones and television and radio aren't social media, because it's not online and it's not interaction, and depends on user generated content. So old media sites, 6 degrees. I'm just going to go through some of the old media sites that
Sure.
the old apps, and just work our way through. I'll do it very quickly. 6 degrees. Have you heard the term 6 degrees of separation?
No. Oh my God.
They say there are only 6 degrees of separation among all the people in the world. You're only 6 people removed from someone else anywhere in the world. There's that connection. You're looking at me like I got 2 heads. But anyway, that's
That's new.
yeah, that's what people
Get it back. I want to try.
make a note. You can Google 6 degrees of separation and find out what I'm talking about, okay? Do it later. 6 Degrees was a website that was created as being the first online social media. It's named after 6 degrees of separation theory, which states that everyone in the world is connected to everyone else by no more than 6 degrees of separation. So you're only 6 people away from knowing someone. Have you ever noticed that you travel or something and someone starts talking and you go, "You're from there," or "Do you know so-and-so?" It's amazing.
It happens. Yes.
And there is this theory that you're only six people away from knowing everyone in the world. So it's pretty neat. Anyway, so they started the first one. It was officially launched in 1997.
All right.
This is when I moved to the house I'm living in now, which was when I was already old. Okay. So it lasted until about 2001. And the number of users peaked at 3.5 million, which isn't very many, but I guess at the time it was a lot. Ustream Media Networks in 1999, bought it for $125 million. So they made some good money on it by opening it, but it was shut down a year later. Okay, so social media history is relatively short in time. I know you girls, it's been part of your life probably your whole life. But I remember in 2004, 5.
I think so. Yeah.
I had a friend, and we were on the phone together, and she said, "Are you on Facebook? You've got to come to Facebook. I've already got 1,500, friends."
Oh wow, that's a lot.
1,500 friends. So I went on. So it was just word of mouth over the telephone that got me to look at Facebook. And at the time, I was doing some online marketing and things like that, or just marketing. And I realized how important Facebook could be for that, getting friends and letting them know about what I was doing. So that's really at the core, and that's why a lot of people get on Facebook. Other people, just like Mark and this other fellow said, it's just to meet people, right?
Yeah.
So after 6 Degrees, there was LinkedIn. How many have you heard of LinkedIn?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, that's more business, right? You get you want to meet people, you want to get your resume out there, look for jobs, that sort of thing. LinkedIn started in 2002 for professional networking, allowing people in business and school contacts as well as companies. MySpace. Now, MySpace was have you heard of MySpace? It was kind of the precursor to Facebook. So MySpace was perhaps the most popular and influential. It was launched in 2003, and we just saw that Facebook came in 2004. So it quickly became the largest social media site, millions of users all over the world. And what's interesting about social media sites is the information is stored. So you can store your pictures, you can store your history, you can store events that have happened to you. And people used to write diaries.
Yes.
You don't have to write a diary anymore. You just go and storage. I go back and I look at some of the pictures on Facebook and I think, wow, that's so cool. But then everybody in the world, you know.
It reminds you of that, isn't it?
Yes.
Dang, I look good back then. Yeah, okay.
You are still, Anita. You're still looking gorgeous.
Thank you. Its popularity was soon eclipsed by other sites like YouTube and Facebook that offered a more ad-free environment. So I guess MySpace had a lot of ads and things on it. And the whole idea of Facebook was that, you know, there weren't any ads or anything like that. Obviously, we know that that changed, and the revenue, these sites don't operate, you know, on thin air. Ad revenue is what drives them. You can buy advertising or whatever on these sites. So then Facebook came along February 4th, 2004. After its launch and subsequent expansion, it grew quickly, surpassing MySpace in 2008. So it did take 4 years to overcome MySpace.
Overcome MySpace, all right.
Yep. And then Twitter. Twitter came along in March 21st, 2006. Do you girls use Twitter?
Yes, I do have an account.
I'm not so.
No, neither do I. A lot of people use.
Yes.
But I
Not
guess
very
it is
active.
the thing among politicians nowadays. They love Twitter, right? Yes,
Yeah,
that's
Absolutely.
people.
Twitter is really good because I think what Twitter does is it gives instant gratification. You tweet something, someone responds. You tweet back, they respond. It's limited to, you can't go on and on and on and tell your whole life story, but they have expanded it from 140 characters. Now you can type more, but it's basically it's almost like a telephone conversation. It's back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Whereas on Facebook, you post something and 2 weeks later somebody likes it. You know, it's short. Yeah. Okay, so then in 2009, China launched a social media platform called Weibo.
Weibo.
Yeah.
Weibo? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a Facebook and Twitter hybrid. So it sort of does what both of those do together. And it has about 400 million active users. Then Instagram came along. That was launched in 2010. It's a smartphone-only app. It was a smartphone-only app focusing exclusively on photos and videos. Facebook bought it for $1 billion in cash and stock. So imagine if you'd come up with the idea of Instagram. You run it for a while, people like it, and then, oh, here's $1 billion. We'll buy you out. There's a lot of money to an idea. You know, people turning ideas into a reality. There's a lot. It's not just products, you know, it's ideas. It's these things out in the ether that are very, very valuable. Then Snapchat, which I don't use either Instagram or Snapchat, so you guys could fill me in on that. But its distinguishing feature was that it allowed users to send photos to one another, but the photos would disappear quickly. I think now they're letting them stay a bit longer, but so it's gotten rid of that storage aspect. Okay, so you may look good or you may be doing something interesting now, but 24 hours from now it's old news. Let's get rid of it and start again, right? So it's a little different. Okay,
it's like the status, isn't it? Okay.
Yeah.
It's like the status or WhatsApp.
Yeah, the state. Yeah, your status. So now you can share a 24-hour story, which gives users a chance to post photos and videos and save them for a full day, right?
Yeah.
So currently it has around at the time that I got this information, 186 million active users. It's very, very popular among really young children, young people,
Young people.
babies like you.
Babies like Priya.
Yeah, leading many people to believe that Snapchat's influence will grow into the coming years. So as these people who are using it now, the young people grow up, they'll probably keep using it because they're used to it. Okay, so I'm just going to read this. Social media today. Social media history is relatively short in terms of time. And while there's no doubt about its positives and negatives, this doesn't make it any less exciting or influential. Today's social media is an integral part of how people connect with friends and family. That's really important. Think about the COVID situation.
Yeah.
You know, you're locked in. What a wonderful way to be able to keep in touch with friends and family. Overall, there are some 2.62 billion users around the world, and this number is expected to grow to over 3 billion by 2021, which is right around the corner.
Yeah.
So,
wow, that was like a handful of everything about social media. Like there were quite a number of social media platforms, and of course, Facebook is the most famous one. And I think equivalent to Facebook is Weibo at China. And very nicely put in the history of social media.
Correct.
Just in one answer from Miss Anita.
Timeline we travel.
Yes. And I actually could remember, I could reflect myself when you were saying about each of the Facebook platforms. So I was like, okay, Facebook 2004, that was like when I was at high school. Yeah, that was like, I don't know what's, I mean, I know what's computer, but I did like, computer was like an expensive thing. Yeah. Back then. And and then traveled along Instagram. Think about Instagram is I love to see the pictures. It's just like it's so addictive scrolling and look at the beautiful pictures, because I think there's some sort of a feature in Instagram where it enhances the picture. So like it really, for me, I'm quite addictive with the Instagram for the pictures, beautiful pictures, and
colorful ambience.
Yeah, and especially I follow one specific a page which is on nature.
Yes.
So they'll share beautiful, and traveling people, nature's traveler, all those sort of things. Beautiful, really. So Instagram, in a way, for me, I think it's good.
Yes.
Because I can see pictures, beautiful pictures for free. I mean, previously you need to buy like a Nat Geo magazine or something to get to read that sort of book, but now it's just like your fingertips, you can just scroll. Okay, let's go back to the session. We have more to cover on social media. So
before we move to the second question, I just want to ask you, Ranjini, how many social media accounts do you have in whichever platforms?
Oops. I'm not really a social media person initially, so just recently I came a bit active in social media. So I have a Facebook account, a Facebook page, and I'll tune in with Ron and Dave's page. So it's all in Facebook. Then I have an Instagram account, which like rarely I open it, except when I'm stressed and I want to see like any beautiful pictures. Then I'll open it. And then not to forget, I have LinkedIn. LinkedIn is definitely, I'm very active in LinkedIn. Of course, it's a professional platform, so I use it a lot, many connections with professional people. So I do have a strong LinkedIn account. Otherwise, nothing else. How about you?
So, I think I do share the same with you. The reason why I asked this question, Ranjini, because as you said, from your previous, your schooling time, you don't have any social media accounts, because even me, I just opened Facebook about 2 years back. But now it's like a must to have account in a Facebook, or you need to have a WhatsApp account, because some of the something regarding to your work, your professional work, and the task or assignments or the informations were all shared through Facebook or through WhatsApp. So it's like a vital thing to have it. It's not like those days that we have an option to choose whether you want to have or not. It's a must already.
Exactly.
My second question is about, please, Ms. Anita, in your opinion, please explain to us the sudden surge in use of social media in the last decade. Because as you said, Facebook was invented in and it's already 2000. It's been 16 years.
Yeah.
16, yeah.
So,
16 years, yeah.
where or what were the precursor to the surge at current scenario?
Yeah.
I think people just I don't know. It was word of mouth. I think, just like my friend told me, you gotta get on Facebook. And you know what? We're all a little bit. What's the word? We all like to see ourselves out there, right? and these hey, I'm here. I exist. And people suddenly had a way of letting the world know that they were there, what they were doing, what was important to them, and to reaching out and meeting new people. Just. I guess my own experience would sort of say why the surge happened. I was doing sales and marketing. I'd been, a teacher for a long, long time, and then I thought, I got to try something different after I retired. And I'm a painter, and I wrote a book, and I thought this would be a great way to get that information out there, to show pictures of my paintings, that sort of thing. And I never want to let any of my paintings go because they're like children to me, but I can put them on Facebook and people can see them and say, "Oh, that's so pretty,"
Yeah.
and it makes me feel good, right? Don't get any money for it, but it makes me feel good. So one of the things was, and then I started meeting people from all over the world, from India and Africa and Southeast Asia and places like that. And then in 2010, I think, I actually went to India and stayed with and visited people on either side of the country in India that I had met on Facebook. So I got to live with them and understand the culture and that sort of thing. And I never would have met them or known them if it hadn't been for Facebook. And there are groups on Facebook. You talk about beautiful pictures of nature. I joined a group that was it's just nature pictures from all over the world, and people submit their pictures. Amazing. And people get to show off their photography, because I was really into photography, and I just put all my photographs on there, and to get the feedback. Feedback is so important on a human level. We're social creatures, right? And we love that feedback. So joining groups, sharing interests, and like you say, LinkedIn. I joined LinkedIn, obviously, and you can put your resume there and what you're into, and so you get friend requests. People asking. It's very, very nice for someone to want to be your friend based on what they see about you, and so the boom. To answer that question, I think the boom is it's a very personal thing to people. All of a sudden, I am important. I am someone. I have a voice. I have a face, and the world can see me and get to know me, and I can get to know them, and that's invaluable. I mean, I had my little group of friends growing up, and we'd go out and we'd play baseball and we'd do this and that, or ride around in a car and giggle and stuff like that. But which in its ways I kind of miss as well. I wish there was maybe a little more balance, but the boon in social media is business, education, and personal relationships, I think. And to talk about business and education, we haven't mentioned yet YouTube. Huge. The second largest after Facebook, YouTube. Do you guys use YouTube?
Yes.
Yes, we are huge.
So, and some people say, well, is Google, you Google something, is that social media? Well, technically, no, it isn't.
No,
and do you remember when Google came up with Google Plus?
Yeah, I've heard about it.
That was their attempt to get in on the social media aspect of things, to become more than just a search engine, right? It's now defunct. It went away because people just didn't take to it. They didn't need it. They had Facebook and all the other ones, right? So Google is a search engine. It's not really social media. But YouTube, even though YouTube is a search engine as well, you look up something. How do I get rid of ants in my basement? How do I get rid of a wasp's nest? How do I build a dog house? Right? There are information and educational videos there all the time. Really importantly, YouTube, there is a whole digital army of independent journalists and newscasters who give another side to the news, right? They take something. Mainstream media we don't have to rely on anymore, right? If you want to listen to mainstream media, that's fine, but you're getting one side of it and that's it, right? They're very one-sided. You can go on YouTube and you can get all kinds of different opinions about current events in the world and get to know what's going on. Recipes. I use YouTube, to bake cakes. I get the recipes. Yeah, you just go to YouTube and you type in like spice cake, easy spice cake. I put easy in front of everything because I don't want them to be hard, right? Easy spice cake, easy Christmas cake. Get the recipe. They're on there and they're showing you how to mix it and everything. And I've been doing some baking, which probably isn't a good idea. But anyway, my husband likes it. And the neighbors, I take them a cake now and then. So, and then educationally, I'm sure a lot of teachers, especially the younger teachers, are using social media for their children to do research and to write papers. And kids now have computers, not pens and books and everything.
Yeah, especially during this COVID right now. Yeah, they're using it. Yeah.
There you go. I would say in this last year of the COVID, it's become even more important, not only socially, but educationally and online learning. And there are even, on YouTube, there are even videos about how to teach online.
Yeah.
Right? So, and I think
so many materials on YouTube actually. There are so many materials in YouTube for education, from language to
tutorials.
You name it. Everything is there. Almost everything is there. Yeah. So yes, definitely.
Photography. They're training horses. I've got a young horse that I've got to train, so I go on there and I listen to all the experts about how to train them, and I've been trying things with him, and boy, does it ever work? You become a horse whisperer. You go out there and you do things that they tell you, and your horse responds, and he comes in the call, and he follows you around, and it's amazing. It's amazing what you can learn on there. So
yeah, it's very resourceful, and so I guess just to sum up that point is that education and business, and also for personal interest, and also for information, that sudden surge in Facebook or actually social media. I'm still keep on going.
Yes,
social media in general.
Yes.
So yes, we have more to talk about, and I think this is going really good. And for the viewers, if you have any question or you would like to share your experience using social media and how social media has impacted your life, you can share in the comment box, and we will direct the questions at the end of the show to Miss Anita, or we will share your comment on your experience in our running bar at the bottom. So let's back to our I think it's when it comes about social media and stuff, we can just talk on and on. So let's move to the next on generation gaps. So I'm really thrilled to speak about this, because I'm very sure your opinion will be different than ours, and mine might be different than Priya. So generation gaps and how it influence the purpose of using social media. Over to you, Miss Anita.
Okay, generation gaps. Well, it's kids now just grow up with it. It's natural, right? It's they can do things, and they just want to do things, and it's their life. For me and people older than me, I have older sisters and that, and they get on and they use it a little bit, but they're not they're not as comfortable. And sometimes I'll say to my sister, have you been on Facebook lately, or seen this or seen that another sister is doing? And they say, I just can't get myself to the computer, right? They're so used to maybe sitting and watching TV or whatever. It's we get into habits, okay? And now, because of my life and what I'm doing and everything, I use social media. But for example, for about 6 years, Facebook. I was on Facebook all the time. 2,000 friends or however many you can have, and meeting people all over the world. And I've traveled to Nepal. I've traveled to Dubai. I've traveled to Africa. I've traveled to Europe, and all these places I have met people that I've met on Facebook. So it's pretty exciting in that way. So I'm taking full advantage of what social media has to offer. But a lot of people in my age group do not. They will face chat or message just with their family and friends who may live in different places. So for my generation, it's more of a novelty for most people. It's something that you can do. I know there are a lot of people my age on Facebook who don't use any of the other social media, because it's enough for them to learn Facebook. First you got to learn how to turn on the computer, and I was at that stage. Reboot, what does that mean? How do I turn this thing on? And copy and paste, what does that mean, right? So all these things you guys take for granted, we have had to learn, and it's a steep learning curve. So every day I'm learning, and I'm very thankful that my the way I've gone in business and the way I've gone in the things I'm doing with travel and getting my art and everything out there have led me to need to use this and want to use it. But LinkedIn, for example, I'll go in there and I'll be all gung-ho, and I'll set up and I'll redo my resume because it's always changing, right? Or Facebook, I'll go in and I'll post some pictures and do some things. And then recently, it's been over a year, I've hardly been on Facebook at all, right? Or LinkedIn. I've been doing other things, which seems strange during COVID, but I'd be interested to know how many people during COVID actually are doing less social media and going more inward, right? I think people, and a lot of people are becoming depressed and everything over it, because they are going inward, and it's like, why bother reaching out to these people, because I can't really, even if I wanted to go visit them, it just seems like a wall has been put up between all of us, right? And social media should fill that gap, and for some people it does. I've found that I'm using it less, which is odd. I don't know. Do you girls have any experience with that? How COVID has affected your social media use?
Let's get our baby to answer first. I'm really perhaps Priya can share on that. On the usage purpose and all those things.
Right. Okay. All right. So as I said, I opened a Facebook account back 2 years back, and the major reason for opening an account in Facebook was to connect with people. All right. And I do like Instagram more than Facebook. Oops. Sorry. Because as you said, the color pictures. Yes, I do have an Instagram account first, then I open a Facebook account.
Okay.
Basically, I do like to have a Facebook account previously, but as time passes, and when I see that Facebook actually can be a great platform to connect with people and also to share your ideas. So that's the major thing that give me a blink, like, okay, let's open a Facebook account, something like that. And I like to post all those nice ideas or good quotes. Perhaps I feel like yes. So I like to keep my Facebook account as good as some empowering quotes and all those things, because people, when they access to my account, they need to have that good vibes. So that's my intention on having a Facebook account, and definitely to connect with people. And Instagram, of course, for the nice photos and videos. Even we have some new words born from this social media, right? Sometimes I have come
jargon,
across
the Facebook jargons. You see.
selfie became popular. The word selfie became popular.
Yeah.
Some photos, when you see it's a nice photo, people might say it's an Instagrammable picture.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we can have some new
Instagrammable.
words.
I mean, yeah, it is definitely a thing.
Yes.
I totally agree. When you see, actually, not even a picture. If you go to a spot and you say, okay, this spot is really nice. This is an Instagrammable,
correct.
pic that you have to take.
Oh, I hadn't heard that one. That's good.
That's a influence we have in our life from social media.
That's really cool.
So how about you, Ranjani?
I guess, as I said earlier, it's but for me is to connect to my friends, because I opened my Facebook account when I was in. I opened an account solely to keep in touch with my sister. I can call, like do a video call or something, but it was still using a laptop back then. So from that, and then I slowly grew, the network grew when I got connected with my primary school friends from another state in Malaysia, and it was fun, and I just kept it going. So but it's just that the main purpose for it is not to share pictures. Initially, not for that. It's just to speak with people, because at that time it's quite costly to make a phone call.
Correct.
And talk to someone in the States. So Facebook was like, wow, you just need a Wi-Fi connection, and it's free. You can call anyone and stuff like that.
Time.
So as a student, life as a student, it was very cost saving and useful. Also, I would say. Yeah, so that's how I started with Facebook, and Instagram was just I just opened it like, okay, fine. Do you have an Instagram? Everyone started asking, do you have an Instagram? I'm like, fine, I'll open one. And just for that, I just opened to share my food. Like, I love cooking. So I opened an Instagram page just to share my food, the pictures of the dish I prepared.
Oh,
just
nice.
for that purpose. And then eventually people ask, who are the person, who are you, and so on. So I changed it into my personal account. So yeah, that's how it is. And
wow.
but that's how. I still feel that towards as time goes, I find that I'm quite addicted to this Facebook or social media or whatsoever, because I think we can cover that in the other part of the ugly side of social media. But just to say that I do feel that social media, the media does have an impact to my life, and I believe to many, irrespective to generation gap, I would say.
Eventually, my Instagram account has been my diary.
Oh yeah, you see,
all my beautiful pictures in there, so I can scroll back and see, oh yeah, I had a good time there. It's nice to have a social media account, by the way. So shall we move on?
Yes, let's move on. Otherwise we're going to talk.
So Miss Anita, as you said, you have been in social media marketing for years, and my fourth question comes this way: social media as a place for entrepreneurs. So how can one benefit from this? Perhaps you can share your opinion on
like
this.
a marketplace.
Well, LinkedIn, obviously, where you can put your resume and what you're doing, and you can actually put in a link where people can go to your business or whatever. It's very, very helpful. And I've connected with a few people on LinkedIn, but I know people who use it very effectively to search out. They'll just go and they'll look for people who have common interests or whatever, and they'll fire them a message saying, this may be way out of the ballpark, but I was just wondering if you would be interested in this, right? It's just a way. It's just a way to reach out. A lot of people who do online sales, or a lot of people who are looking for employees, whatever. So it's really important that way. Facebook, I originally, I wanted to meet people, but I also was looking for people who might be interested in what I was interested in and what I was marketing, right? And so it's very important, I'm sure you both know in marketing, to develop a relationship with people. So in a way, you almost feel bad because you know that you're hooking up with these people because they may want to buy something from you in the future, but then you end up just being friends, right?
Yes.
So there's the overlap. You start out for entrepreneurial reasons. You want to get a bunch of people who know you and listen to you, and so what happens inadvertently is you get a Facebook account, and you'll want people to relate to you. You'll want people to be drawn to you. You want people to want to be your friends. And you can't do that by pounding them with your sales, right? You've got to develop a relationship with people. They've got to like, know, and trust you. Okay. And then maybe there are even ways on Facebook that you can just lead into something where a friend will actually ask you what you're doing, or ask you. I joined a business once with a fellow in Australia who came on and he asked me for advice about network marketing, right? And so out of the blue, he just came in, he asked me for advice on network marketing, and I hadn't been putting that out there at all. So we started talking, and that was his sneaky way of getting me into his network marketing.
That's good in a way.
Yeah, so people have ways of doing it, but think about it. A captive audience. You develop relationships with these people, and then if they like, know, and trust you, and if you really care about them, and you have something that you think they should know about, you have a platform for letting them know. So much business is done on social media now. I think it's the main way.
Yes.
The main way of doing business. YouTube has crypto media or cryptocurrency. They have all these people who do technical analysis on all the different cryptocurrencies and on gold and things like that. So and then of course a lot of the people on YouTube are sponsored by other companies. So you'll go on to one guy to listen about something or other, some news event, and he's advertising, oh, go to my friend here and buy gold, right? Or go here, I sponsor, if you click on this link, I'll get a commission because you go and buy my vitamins, buy their vitamins because you've seen it on my channel. So the ways in which entrepreneurs and commerce is actually transacted on social media is beyond anything. I mean, we can't even touch on it here, but I think everybody has their own personal experience. And if there is a way to use social media to further your business, people will find it. But I think the main thing is being able to get your story, get your product, get yourself as a person out there and develop relationships with people. That's the very best way, because you can make a sale once. If you don't have a relationship with a person, they're gone. It's meaningless. It's hollow. But if you can work with people or even take your business or whatever you're offering to people and change their lives and make their lives better, they feel better, and so do you. So it gives entrepreneurship and sales and things like that a much more human. It just.
Yes, I understand.
Yeah,
Yes.
you're in touch with your customers. You know who they are. You can see their face. You can hear their stories. I was working with a product. It's just liquid oxygen, right? At one time years ago, and I had friends on there who had emphysema and asthma and COPD, and they took this and they weren't even able to get out of their house or go to the store, and all of a sudden they're telling me about how they're going shopping and they were doing their gardening again. Okay, so initially we had a friendship. I introduced a product that I thought might help them because I knew that they had these problems. Then they tell me about all their wonderful successes with it. Everybody feels good. There's been a commercial interaction there, but there's so much more to it, and social media provides that. I don't know if that's the kind of answer you wanted, but for me, it's all about people and relationship building, and that leads into any kind of entrepreneurial interaction.
Actually, right. That was I think it's just like this is a new way for me to see it as well. From your answer, yeah, it's more on the post relationship that you have, or even during the sales and so on. So you actually you're not only selling, but you're also establishing a relationship, which actually eventually can be a friends or your network or something. It can be a business partner and so on. That's very positive way to see it, and not solely to just sell and I'm done and we move
That's right.
to. That's very beautiful to see it on from that point of view. I never seen it from that.
Oh, really? Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
Okay, so
This brings another
a new dimension of
correct.
seeing this.
And look at the people, the number of people they can reach actually by market it in a social media platform. You can reach thousands and thousands of people, maybe millions, because it's around the world.
Yep.
So it's a great platform for the entrepreneurs to market as a marketplace. Correct.
Yeah.
So we're moving on to the next question, and I'm gonna read this from our viewer Kirtini Lingeshwaran. So she said, COVID-19 pandemic has changed education to social media. It's really great for future generations. So of course, Super Brian and of course Ms. Anita. So I'm gonna bring our next question from her comment on this. That how can a social media have an impact to from Kirtini itself? So perhaps we can talk further about this, Ms. Anita.
You just cut out for a minute. Can you repeat your question, please?
Yeah, sorry. So from Kirtini's comment, I believe that how social media has an impact to education, and I mean Kirtini itself has already given a hint, and perhaps we can speak further about this, Ms. Anita.
Okay, social media and education. Well, you mentioned something about looking at beautiful pictures from all around the world. Okay. A lot of people will take their children traveling because they say travel is the best education. Okay. If you can't travel, social media is a good substitute. You go and you see pictures from all over the world, and you get. So, what kind of geography lesson is that? Not only do you know that there are mountains in Nepal, but you can actually see them, right? And without having to buy an expensive magazine, as you said. So just opening people's eyes up to what is out there in the world. Great geography class. There are videos, historical videos. Okay. There are nature videos. There are videos about space and the universe. There are, as you pointed out, language learning on YouTube, language learning videos, cooking. Okay.
Yes.
I don't know. You showed pictures of your food, but I imagine people asked you how did you make that? What did you do?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So then you get to educate them. Okay. Online learning, especially with COVID, as your viewer said, so important. Okay. Parents are having to learn how to homeschool their children. And a lot of parents would be totally at a loss, right? Because they don't know what kids are learning in school necessarily, but they can go on there and they can perhaps find the curriculums or get in touch with principals or teachers and find out what they need to be teaching their kids. They can take their kids on YouTube and say, okay, I want you to write a report on the solar system. You know, what are the planets and whatever. The kids just go on there and they can find the information. They can Google it, right? And often Google will lead them to a YouTube video or an article or something. So the world is basically at your fingertips as far as education is concerned. You don't have that social interaction, the really personal social interaction that you get in a classroom or in a schoolyard, which is really, really important, I think, in a child's upbringing. And that is really a shame. You know, sports and playground playing and all that sort of thing that kids are missing out on because of the lockdowns. I really lament that is happening. But at least parents and children and teachers have a way of reaching out and making sure that the children are getting the education they need. And often online learning can be, especially when it's interactive learning, where the child is not just sitting there watching something like a lecture, but they're actually able, because of the computer and because of mobile devices, they're actually able to go in and take part in the lesson online. Really, really effective. Because of cameras and because of recording devices, they can actually hear themselves speaking sometimes if they, it's totally amazing. I think I mentioned to you last time I'm learning Spanish, right? And
Yes.
I took it in university and I'm trying to learn it online, and it's totally different. It's so much easier this way, right?
Yeah.
So much easier. Yeah. So, basically it's a boon to education. It's a real gift to education.
Yeah. So that's absolutely, I totally agree with you. And also, of course, for the viewers also, like Miss Kirtini has mentioned, for me, how I see Facebook or social, I keep on stressing
Saying
about
that.
Facebook. It's
Yes.
social media. I'm being biased. Oh my gosh. So social media is that like I mean, it's the way of how you see things, because nowadays for us here, news are shared in Facebook.
Correct.
I mean, back in school days, I still remember I used to buy this top rated newspaper. The physical newspaper. I used to
Yes.
buy it for $1 or something, and
Yeah.
I'll start reading it. I just enjoy the process, of course, learning new words and so on. But
Yes.
out of sudden, I'm not sure when exactly this happened, everything converted to online.
Yeah.
There are no more during my student life, in university, there are no more this physical newspapers, but it's like I just wonder, like, the number of newspapers will reduce in that
Yes.
3 years. My studies was 3 years, and I was wondering what's happening, because I still love the smell of the newspaper.
Yeah.
You open it and
The
stuff
sound
like that.
and smell of the coffee. Yes.
And you like flip it and the taste. The feel of the paper, not the taste. So,
Yes.
but again,
Yes.
at one point, I guess that's how it is. Like, it has changed, and being from environmental background, I knew that it is for good, because you're reducing the paper, so you're less cutting down the trees, and it's actually a good thing in a way that you're moving to online. But just that for me,
yes.
that I still don't enjoy the process of reading news from online newspaper. But I guess I just have to keep up with that. But back to in social media, people
I
started.
agree. Yeah.
Yes.
You definitely agree. Yeah.
So people started to share news in social media. Now we are at the phase where news are all shared in social media, and people usually just open this Facebook and see what's news for today, what's the update, and of course another one
Scroll
will be
the headlines. Yeah. Scroll
it's
the
like
headlines. Yeah.
yes. I guess like there are more not newscasters, journalists in the Facebook itself.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that's how it is.
I think that's the first routine work of all the office staffs. When they open the PC or laptop, that's the first thing they will go through.
Open the Facebook and
Open
see the news of the day.
Yes, news of the day.
So I guess that's the shift.
I think you have to be careful with that too, because some of these sites will put up all the headlines in the news that they want you to read. Okay, so it can be manipulative. Okay, you think, okay, you open it up and it shows you all these headlines. I always shut all that stuff off, because I don't want them just putting it in my face, right? What the headlines are and what's important. I like to look around YouTube and find what I want. And they also, on YouTube, they'll recommend videos. You open up your YouTube and there's a whole bunch of videos there that they're recommending. Some of the news outlets, I know where they're coming from, and I don't agree. So there's a place on there where you can just click not interested and it'll go away. So I just go through and I pick out the ones that I'm not interested in. I don't care if they recommend it or not. People need to know that just because it appears on their screen, okay, It doesn't mean that it is the gospel, that it is the truth, that it is anything that they need to even pay attention to. People have to understand that they still have a choice, okay, in what they
Yes,
listen
That is
to. And I was talking to my sister the other day, and I was telling her about certain things going on in the world, and she said, I had no idea. I had no idea. I said, it's all out there. You just have to do your research. You have to wake up and take charge, because this is available to you now. We may have been told a certain story our whole lives, but that doesn't mean that we've necessarily always been told the truth. And if you have a responsibility to yourself and your children and your grandchildren to research this, and there's no excuse for not doing it now. And I just want to tell everybody, please do not feel that just because all these headlines are scrolling down your page, that those are things that you have to believe or be interested in. You know, take responsibility for choosing what you engage in and what you don't engage in on social media, because, as you say, it can be very addicting. It can be very manipulative, and just the way mainstream media has always been manipulative. They give you the story they want you to hear, and there's never been a way to hear anything different. Now there is. Okay, so yeah, it's a little bit of work. It takes a little bit of research, but you can't just be lazy and just be spoon-fed everything and believe that it's real, it's true, just because you're seeing it on your screen. People used to think a textbook or anything that was written was the truth, but we all know that history is written by the people who want you to know their side of history, right? So just like you could never always take the written word as truth, you had to do your own research. The same goes for social media. Just because it makes it onto the screen does not make it true, does not make it your truth. It may be a truth for someone else, but not necessarily your truth. So take the time, go out and find your own truth on Facebook. Don't put up with people on Facebook or social media that are abusive in any way. I know this is a question coming up, but I have a friend, and she likes to share her ideas on politics and that sort of thing. And there are people who agree with her, and they chat, and other people who get on, and they're just telling her that she's this and she's that, and she's going to go to hell, and she can block them, and she does. Don't feel that just because someone is your friend that you have to put up with their nonsense.
Or you can take a break.
Get rid of them. So many people want to be liked, right? That they will post what they think people want to hear, or if someone ridicules them or whatever, they think they've got to. Well, it's fine if they want to defend it, but they don't have to put up with it. You know what I mean? So
exactly.
What I'm getting at is, do your research, learn for yourselves, use social media in a way that will enhance your life, that will not make you crazy, will not make you depressed. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Always look for what you need in your life, right? Whether it's entrepreneurship, whether it's friendship, whether it's looking at beautiful pictures. YouTube has all these beautiful channels that are nothing but beautiful music and beautiful pictures that go with the music. Harp music and flute music and piano music, and you can find solace, you can find peace and contentment, you can find information, you can find hard-hitting stuff. If you like to argue with people, you can get on there and put things that'll really get people's blood up, right? And then you just go back and forth with them. Twitter's good for that, by the way. But yeah, use it in a way that enhances your life. And that is not detrimental to you or the other people that you're associating with, right?
Yeah, I guess like there's one point that Miss Anita mentioned on the use it wisely, and you take charge of what you are looking at or reading through or expose yourself to. And actually, usually I mean, it's actually by chance sometimes, you have to go through it, or you have to like read it content first, then only you will know whether it's suitable or not. So you can discontinue. So I guess for a start, you definitely will have to go through be it a negative or what.
Yeah.
And then after that, you have to be, how would I put it, rational enough
Okay.
to,
Discerning.
appreciate which is good, which is not good for yourself. And then you react accordingly. Sometimes, yes, I totally agree with what you say, that the people, the network that you're connected with, your friends or whoever, they may at one point may disagree to certain things that you say or you preach or you share, or they just purposely don't like you, and they just want to attack you or something. Or we call it cyberbullying. We can talk about this later, but the most important thing that I really like one point is take charge of what you are exposing yourself to, and protect yourself. So if you think that particular person or particular content is irrelevant and need to be block it or take a break, then take a break. I mean, that's one thing. And leading to my one concern is that should we have like age limit to user of a social media?
That's a big discussion.
Yeah, perhaps that's something for the viewers or everyone to think about, because at the moment I don't think so there's any control. Anyone who have Facebook or
Kids are using their parents' email to create an account.
Emails are just very easy to create. Just open whoever the email provider, register and create your Facebook. And nowadays Facebook can be created using your phone number. So if you have a phone, your parents definitely will give you a phone and you can use that. So perhaps something for us to ponder is that whether should we have an age limitation to.
So with that,
I know that when Facebook first started, they said 13. You've got to be 13.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
But it's just that
but now, you had to put your age or your birthday or something in the questionnaire. But now, like you say, just
anyone can have it. So that's something for us to ponder. Or would you like to say something?
Have you seen many small children on Facebook?
Yes.
You have? Okay.
Yeah, we do. In Malaysia, yes. We don't have like any sort of a mechanism where like Facebook, if you put, I mean, the kids can just falsify their birthday. They're not going to validate using an IC, an identity card. So kids nowadays are very smart.
Which brings up a very good point, which might be another question further down. But while we're here, let's talk about it, right? False identities, false Facebook. They're always getting rid of people who are creating false identities or stealing other people's identities or pretending to be someone else or whatever. Fake IDs. You've got to be aware. And I've gotten to the point where, you can recognize them a mile away. You know that okay, there'll be a guy or a woman or something, and they put down that they're an engineer and they went to Oxford University. Well, you're probably in Cambridge, not Oxford, right? And then they have a couple of pictures of themselves and one picture of them with a little child or something to show what a caring person they are. And the information that they put on themselves is so grandiose and so much, you can just tell it's fake, right? And the same friend requests, don't fall for it. Don't think just because, this person went to Oxford or Harvard and they want to be my friend. There are red flags, there are warning bells that should go off, and I guess that's just a note of caution. Just always be aware of who's asking to be your friend and develop a sense for what's real and what isn't.
Yeah, totally. I totally agree. The part on fake IDs, false information, and I think I guess it's all by experience, Anita. It's because I grew up from no Facebook, and of course we fall somehow in the same category, not this baby.
Okay.
without social media and how we see people, we evaluate people in real life before we get connect to them. And when it comes to social media, it's based on what appears on their personal details, and we believe that. I mean, we at times it's like we choose to believe, and
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
that sort of thing. We choose to believe. I mean, it's either if you're a positive person, okay, positive minded so called. So I'm looking at it positively. He's telling 100% right. Let's get connected. And then over a time, perhaps with experience and so on, you realize that okay, this person doesn't match with what they're saying. So you have a choice. Then you can remove them, block them, and mind your own business. I would say.
And you can report it.
Yeah.
There is an option to report
Because,
the page or profile.
Exactly, and of course, some people, if they are somehow dangerous to the society, I mean the network in social media, then you can report them if they are sharing some inappropriate content or whatsoever. Then you can always report. But there are some people who are just like just put up a different image so that they look good in social media.
Just like that.
So those are the things which we can't control, and I guess the best way is, as Priya said, you can report to them with whatever category they have, or you just stay away from these sort of people.
And stay away from it. You can report it, but then you open up what they say, a can of worms sometimes, you know, and then it's back and forth, and really it's just a waste of your time. Just block them, get rid of them, let someone. But what you said there is so very important. If you're a positive person and you're a truthful person, and you approach everybody that you meet or you see on social media, your first instinct is to believe them and to think that they are. If you're coming into contact with them, they must be nice people too. But it's not always the case. But always think the best, but be on the lookout for the worst, and you can't go wrong. I mean, I've been on there, I don't know how many years, and there have been a few dodgy characters, but you deal with them. You know, you just you can block them or you can just ignore them. You know, and they'll keep messaging you and messaging you and messaging you, and you just, how come you're not answering?
Exactly, Priya said it right. Pretend that they do not exist.
But they eventually go away.
This sort of experience, I guess, I've grown from this sort of experience, because it's like social media is the thing. I need it for certain issues. Even in LinkedIn, I've came across a false ID, and that's quite dangerous when it comes to LinkedIn. Because it's about business, and you're talking about getting proposals in business talks that you would like to discuss about it, and that is usually I use it for that. So yes, there are positive things about that. I have managed to meet someone from a company based in the UK, and he came down to Malaysia for a meeting, and of course I'm this person. I will always
background checking.
Yes, I do my background checking thoroughly as much as I can, and thanks to social media for that, because we are all connected, so you can check everything. I have to wait for that. So usually I do that. So I did that, and that person seems to be honest, and also he seems to be real. So after his meeting, and of course I know the person who he's going to meet, I mean that colleague of this mutual friends, and it seems to be right. And I met him, and then I shared my knowledge about my business, my industry, and he was impressed. And right now, recently, before COVID, he requested for a proposal. That's like bang. You see? Yeah. So it's like then I of course with the COVID. So these are the
true IDs do exist.
Yes. I mean, especially when it comes to LinkedIn, be it I see when the moment I try to see look at the purpose of the LinkedIn and try to leverage it, it worked for me. The universe connect me to the right people, and it's going good for me and for LinkedIn. Yes, so we're going to move to the next question. And just now I mentioned about how different it is, like socializing, meeting people in real life. You meet people to people, and in person, and then suddenly in Facebook. And what a big change is that. So that's leading to our next question, Priya.
All right. So this question sounds like this. So social media hampered the real life socializing, is what Ranjini said just now. So in your opinion, Anita, how far it affects the current generation and its implication to the future generation?
This is really a fun
Yes.
question.
Really want to know this.
Yeah.
Ah,
I think my sphere of my world was so much smaller without social media. I had the friends I went to school with. School was so important. And then if we went to another city for a drama festival or something, you'd meet a group of students there, and maybe you would travel to their town in the summer and visit. But it was, or another school that you'd play basketball against. So that was your world and your social interaction. And there's it's odd to think, but in that small world, I don't know about you girls, but when you were a lot younger, there's a lot of love and a lot of heartache and a lot of jealousy and a lot of friendship and a lot of laughing and sharing and things like that. But it's so much more limited. But it's really real. You know the people, and I still talk to when I'm talking to my friends that I went to school with. It's why I love you so much is because you knew me back then. You know who I am, right? You've seen it, and so those kinds of connections I don't think can ever be replaced by ones that you generate online. But that being said, I have met some very incredible people online who have become very close friends. And sometimes what you actually end up doing is communicating more because it's easier to communicate. You don't have to be, like you said, phoning. If someone a little bit distance away and a long distance, it's very, very expensive, so you wouldn't bother. You could write letters, and we used to do that and run to the mailbox, and it was pretty exciting. But I don't think that I don't know how it's going to affect. I don't have kids, right? I'm not a teacher anymore, so I'm not as up to date on that. But I don't know how it's going to affect kids as far as having those kinds of close relationships that I had with my friends. If you still go to school, you probably have your friendships, but I don't know if it's creating more of a closeness among people or a distancing. I'm still out on that one because I've got close friends from the past that was one-on-one interaction, and I've got so many close friends now through social media. I can't categorically say that it's good or bad or the one is better than the other. I just can't say. And how it's going to affect future generations, I can't say either. I think as long as people use it positively in a way that's best for them, it's not going to hurt anybody.
So I think that's I would say 50-50, or it's just an opinion. But like for me, how I see it is like well, I'm not married, I don't have a kid yet, but I guess looking at how I grew up, how I spent my childhood, and how my nephews and niece spending their childhood and growing up, I definitely find that the essence of real life socializing has been somehow at stake. If I got it right, maybe I don't know. It's like among my circle of people and my own family. So it's like it's all phone. You just open your phone and it's like communication. Even I would say I'm already into that. I limit my real life socializing with people. Everything is via WhatsApp. Everything was via Facebook, Instagram. I was like, at one point I did realize, what is this? What is real life means for me? I mean, these are like for the people who have tasted the real life socializing, where you meet, you gather, you speak face to face, you go for a picnic and that sort of thing. And nowadays it's like, let's do a video chat, that sort of thing. That's what your leisure time and about updating Facebook and sharing stuff, live chats.
Yes.
I don't know. I do understand that is the current trend or way of living, I would say. But another part of me is still like questioning: is this how it should be, or is going to be?
Yes.
Should we really look into it and give an importance to think about it thoroughly to correct things, or just go along the flow? I mean, this is just like a point for us, again, something to ponder as well.
That's an excellent point. Do we always go with the flow, or do we say at some point, okay, that's enough, and I've got to make a concerted effort myself to reestablish real relationships with people?
Yeah.
And I think everything in life, everything in the world is a pendulum, and you get a reaction, you get an action, and then you get a reaction. And everybody's gung-ho for Facebook and everything, and I think there'll be a reaction at some point, and people will say, no, I want to go back to the simpler way of life, right? Or everything is full ahead technology, and then a lot of people are saying, no, I want to build a little house and go live out in the woods, or move to a small town. Especially with COVID now, there's a huge exodus from large cities into suburbs and out into the country, because people just don't want that kind of madness that is existing in some of the cities. I know here in Canada and in America, and that they're leaving New York, they're leaving Los Angeles, and maybe that will lead to because even in cities, people were packed together, or are packed together so closely, right? They get on the train or they get on the subway or whatever, and they're all like this on their phone.
Yes.
So even when they do get a chance to rub shoulders with another person, they don't do it. I've seen kids sitting side by side on a bus, talking to each other on their phones. On their phones, and they're side by side.
Right.
That's insane.
This thing really made things go crazy. I mean,
I mean, definitely it's a help. Definitely, it's a help. But at the same time, or maybe we can put it this way: it is our friend and our foe at the same time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's a good word.
Yeah. So, wow, that's interesting. I mean, yes, we were talking about this social media, the revolution the social media has brought in our life. So for the people, of course, with the belongs to different generation, might see social media differently. But for the youngsters who started their life with social media, I'm a bit, definitely from my point of view, I'm definitely concerned on how they're going to miss the real life socializing, the real life communication, what was in our definition, we have our own set of definition of how real life socializing is. But I'm afraid for the youngsters who started their life with social media, they might have a new definition of socializing. So
they don't even understand. They've never experienced it, because it all comes down to experience. There was a picture on that came online, and it was divided into two, and one picture was kids when I was growing up, and it was a bunch of kids in their rubber boots jumping into mud puddles and playing. Kids today, and it's kids walking down the street like this, right? And as you say, it's a bit concerning to me, because just knowing, especially growing up in the country, with animals and stuff, what life was like and how rich and full it was, right? And I really feel sorry, in a way, for kids.
Emotion.
Maybe they look at me like I'm crazy. Why would I want to jump in mud puddles, and why would I want to?
The fun is different. The feeling is different.
Yeah. But I feel. This sounds almost terrible, but I feel sorry for them, and I feel so fortunate that I'm not one of them, that I actually had the experiences that I have. I think a lot of older people feel that way. And maybe it's just consolation for getting old, that we can say, well, we had it better. But You know.
Yeah, that's good. So I guess let's move to the next question. And we have been live for the past an hour and 28 minutes. That's close to an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have
So
one more.
yes, we have one interesting. This is definitely. I think all the questions about this topic is interesting because I really have so much to talk and so much would like to listen from you. So the ugly side, and we have spoke about this a little
Sunny
bit.
sides are gone,
Mhm.
and now we're back to the ugly side.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the positive side of what is this social media is undeniable, and definitely it has brought so much of new connection and business opportunity, the way you do business, and it cut costs in a way, for communication and get connected to people and many more. We have spoke about it. It's a revolution that it has brought in the last decade.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
Revolution.
at the same time, we can't deny the fact that there is an ugly side of social media itself. Like, for example, we can name a lot. So one of it, like cyberbullying, scamming, misuse of personal data. We've touched on that.
Mhm.
Sexual harassment is
Oh,
also one of it.
Yes.
And so many things, the ugly side of social media. I would like to reiterate on the beginning of the social media is, to put it straight, is that to actually find people for a relationship. That's what the
Kind of
if you see,
matchmaking.
Yep.
yeah, matchmaking. And so from that genuine thought, if you really follow it in a right way, not if you look at it the right way, and all the potential people who would like to look for a relationship, get into social media, and then you start to connect and get into relationship, which I have seen people, my friends, who ended up in a married. They
That's
are
nice.
married and living happily. Yes, yeah. So that is the positive side. So they were using they understood the idea of social media correctly.
Yes.
They tried they try it and it worked, but things became imbalanced and deviate from its actual purpose in the beginning stage, when people start to come in and use like
Misuse?
headhunters. If you, I
Yeah.
don't know if the word correct or not, headhunters, and so many things I can name it, and false data, and
Yes.
they claim them are not married, and they look for this and so on. And of
Yeah.
course, there was what is this? There were respond to that sort of request, and things became ugly.
Yeah.
And for those who came in much later with the understanding the idea of social media, were somehow
Escape.
not say escape, became the victim of the
Yes.
situation, and and it leads to bad experience and so on. And the worst part is sexual harassment and
The impact it
yeah,
created.
yeah. So some may not be able to handle it, and while some who are strong enough and know when to stop and move out of the entire pool will survive and will still go on with using the social media.
Mhm.
So back to my question is that how can one avoid this while using social media? Perhaps some tips from your experience.
Oh boy. Well, yeah. I've noticed that a lot of the ways that people will start, a sexual harassment thing or whatever you want to call it,
Mhm.
they start with being super nice, and
Mhm.
if let's say it's a man talking to a woman, right? And they say all these wonderful things, like,
Mhm.
and they even know certain questions or comments to make, and then they see how the woman reacts, and then they know how to carry on.
Mhm.
So, for example, oh, you're so, and they can do this in real life too, but oh, you're so beautiful, and you're so this, and you're so that.
Mhm.
And then if the woman says, oh, shucks, no, I'm not, right? Then they
Yeah.
know that she doesn't have a very good self-esteem, right?
Mhm.
And is much more likely to be a willing victim, so to speak.
Mhm.
Right?
Yes.
Or as if they say, oh, you're so beautiful, and you say,
Mhm.
yeah, thanks,
Mhm.
thanks.
Yeah.
I know that.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Oh.
That's
No, I will
brilliant.
say, tell me something that I don't know.
Oh, wow. That's
Well, that's true. That's self-confidence, you see.
Yeah, exactly. And so they won't, sort of move in for the kill, as it were, right?
Mhm.
So you've got to, these are things that I think parents or teachers or anybody should just make children aware of, you know. If you're on there, have a presence, be who you are, and healthy skepticism. I think if you're skeptical of everybody, you'll never meet anybody. But so, and then I've had that sort of thing happen, and I've had people come on and they're friendly and you're just talking, and then all of a sudden they send you a picture that you really don't want to see. I don't know if you've had that. Thinking that, yeah, I don't know what they're thinking. So then you block them or whatever. So there's a lot of that goes on too. They call them something pics. Anyway, they'll send you pics, or they'll just, they'll talk to you, and if you're not friendly, then they get really verbally abusive.
Yes, like intentionally they are initiating them to something that we don't want to happen.
Yeah, true. And also they become more aggressive, I would say. Like if you aggressive and in their word, and probably they create
emotional
some sort of drama. I mean, it happens. I think I've seen in God.
And I think that the I don't know what the real numbers are, but so many children go missing every day in the world.
Yeah.
This is a whole other area that we won't go into, but it's huge, you know, trafficking and kidnapping and everything. And I know that a lot of children are lured by people who go online, pretend to be another child or pretend to be something they're not, and they meet up and then they just spirit them away. So that is a really ugly side of social media.
There are also people who use similar gender. Like if I'm a girl, so they will, because ladies, they want to be cautious, so they just want to get connected to ladies. So the opposite side, the male, will use a fake ID, pretend to be a lady, and
so
that they'll get proved in to be a connection, and there's so many.
And the scamming, about the scamming issue.
The scamming. Oh my goodness. Well, like even, what was it? A while ago, somebody hacked into Twitter or something and said, was it Bill Gates? And there were several high-profile people. They said, okay, this is Bill Gates, and I want to give back to the world or whatever. If you send me 1 Bitcoin, I'll send you back 2. Right? And whoever this hacker was, he's in jail now, but ended up with $100,000 worth of Bitcoin just by hacking into Twitter and sending out this scam message. And that's just one example, but scams are going on all the time. Do you girls get this is probably not social media, but do you ever get calls where someone comes on and says, "We are just phoning to let you know that you are under investigation by the tax service, and if you're going to be arrested, and if you don't call our number and talk to our person right now, if you want to talk to someone right now, just press 1." And they're just trying to get your phone line or whatever, right? Or it's really funny if they come on and leave a message that you're lagging by something and you don't have anything to do with that entity. So it's just, but scams going on constantly. I don't know. I used to get a bunch of Facebook messages or friend requests, and it would be someone who wanted a woman who was dying of cancer, but she had $7 million, and she wanted to make sure it got to someone, but she just needed a bank account to put it into, right? So they want all your bank details, so they'll send you $7 million. Mrs. somebody, and she's got a whole life story about how her husband was this and was very rich, and he's left her all this money, but now she's dying of cancer, and she can't get to the money because she needs a bank account to put it into. And if you just give me a bank account to put it into, I'll let you keep a whole bunch of it, and stuff like that. That's not as prevalent anymore because people are onto it, right? But I think as social media progresses, more and more creative scams and ways of taking advantage of people will also appear. So you have to be ever vigilant.
It's truly the creativity in producing scams. I think
Yes, they're very
if they
skillful.
transfer this
They're very
creativity,
skillful, yeah.
I think they have a group of people
Uh-huh.
to talk
And
about
also
it.
to touch on cyberbullying also,
Yes.
I guess this happens. I guess bully itself in real life we have seen bullying since I think this is something common in school time
Yeah.
itself. But cyberbullying is bullying someone in social
Fake
media
emotion, I
using
guess.
words and perhaps some words or some anything mocking their photos or post or
Yeah.
sharing around and so on, just to a bunch of people are there just to bully another person. And of course these people are whoever who are weak, and they tend to fall for it and so on. But I guess this is something that is growing, becoming a concern also with the use of social media. And we also have an act in Malaysia to control the cyberbullying.
Cybercrime.
Oh,
Yes,
good.
cybercrime. Yes. Our what was it? Council on I don't
Yeah, we
remember
have
the
a
exact
body on
name,
that.
but we have a body on
Yes.
that who regulates this and control. And of course, the spread of fake news.
newses,
Yes,
yes.
fake news as
Oh,
well.
yeah.
We have an act to protect that.
We can
and-
even check the news is fake or true. They will
Yeah.
identify that for us.
Okay, there's a screening
That's a
process.
good
We just have to report to the body, and they will do their job. And yes, I guess that's on social media, the ugly side. And wow, I think we can just talk on and
More
on
and
and on.
more,
I think
yes.
we are not done, but I just need to wrap up. We have to wrap up anyway.
And Anita, I can
I thought, where do I start? I thought, well, it'll just evolve as we talk, and that's what happened. Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess it's morning. It's Priya
Yes.
said we spot
we can see the
sunlight.
sunlight now.
Oh yeah, it's coming in.
Yeah.
Yes, previously I see it's quite a dim light.
All right, so you started your morning with us. Thank you so much. And to wrap up our topic on social media, perhaps a few words from you, Miss Anita, just to wrap up.
Wrap up. Okay. Well, social media is a curse and a blessing. I would say it's part of our lives. It's a very, very big part of our lives, and even for older folks, they have email and they probably have Facebook and that sort of thing. But it has opened up the world to us. It has made education in any area much more accessible. It has created friendships of people around the world. As you say, people have gotten married just by meeting on. And some of my very best friends and work colleagues in the world I've only ever known on social media. So it has filled a big gap in many lives. I know women who have diabetes and they're older and they're housebound, and yet they feel like they're out in the world and they have friends all over the world and they talk back and forth and become involved in politics and this, that, and the other thing. So it's really an outlet for so many positive things. You just have to keep your head on your shoulders and decide what you want from social media and stick to that, and don't be led. Actually, it will introduce areas that you didn't even know you were interested in, which is good. And you can go those ways, but never feel if you're go with your instincts. If you're feeling this doesn't feel right, I don't want to read about this, I don't want to learn about this, I don't want to talk to this person, this isn't what I believe, this doesn't go with my values, you can shut it off. You have that choice. People used to say, if you don't like what's on the TV, just turn it off. You can do the same with social media. So use it to your advantage. It may sound selfish, but use it to your advantage socially, in business, educationally. There's so much that it has to offer. Like pictures of nature, pictures of the world are really, really big for me. And sharing things that I'm proud of, like my art, and you share your cooking, that is so important to so many people, that they can share who they are, what they love, what they're good at, and they can have feedback from people, because we all, as a teacher, I know I used to, wherever I could, praise children. it gives you a place where you can be praised and you can be honored and you can be valued that you would never get, especially if you're living alone, right?
Mhm.
So being social creatures, social media, it's in the name, right? You can be social with other people, you can meet people from around the world, and just don't let the ugly part of social media, the cyberbullying, don't, if you in any way that you can, keep away from that. Don't fall victim to that, and don't become a victim knowingly. Don't let yourself be a victim, and don't embrace that victim mentality, because let's face it, some people have that, and they go on there and you would swear that they are purposely looking to be a victim, right? Takes all kinds in the world, but some people know that they're being lied to or know that they're being conned, and just for the attention, they're going to go along with it, right? So it's such a varied subject, and there's so much sociology and psychology and everything else involved in it that we could never cover it all. But basically, it is a blessing, I think, for the most part. But as parents, I think parents should encourage their children to get out and live life and live life. Get out in nature, meet other people, have play dates. Limit social media time to a certain amount of time a day, so that kids have to find other ways to entertain themselves. Try and avoid addiction. Addiction of any kind is bad, and social media addiction is one of those things that you have to try and avoid, or teach your children not to fall into that. So I guess overall it's a positive thing, as long as you you use it wisely.
All right.
Yep. Use it wisely. Okay, that was a very that was a good wrap up. Yeah, that was a good wrap on it. Yes, definitely, it's a blessing. Social media is a blessing with the advancement in technology.
Yes.
And of course, advancement in life, how life is going, and so on. We need social media, but but one need to ensure that they use it wisely, and that Miss Anita highlighted, which is restrict timing for social media, so that you don't forget the real life socializing. And that's very, very important, and definitely I personally will stress that, and I also tell myself every time, like, get into real life, not in social media, and meet people real life, not in social media, so that you can live real life, because at the end of the day, you're not living your life in social media. It's not just this, it's this.
I think it's a wake-up call for some of the social media users.
Yep, exactly. So that was very beautiful, fantastic session, Miss Anita. Thank you so much for your time and spending your early morning with us.
Yep.
Well, I hope it helped, and it was my pleasure, girls. Always a pleasure to be with you.
Okay, I think, is that good, Miss Anita?
That's good.
All right.
Okay. All right,
it's such a fun. It's fun. It's always fun to have you on board. So we really had like a fun going topic today. So until we will definitely get in touch with you very soon. And have a nice day and nice morning, Miss Anita. Bye.
And you have a nice evening. Bye-bye. Thank you, girls.
Yeah.
Take care.
Bye.
So that was like a power pack session on social media with Miss Anita Spring, all the way from Canada. It was early in the morning, and she got up and stay tuned with us just to share her knowledge on social media. And it was really fun to hear from her, and in fact from everyone, different point of view about social media.
Even the viewers.
Yes. It's the positive side and the ugly side, and at the end we concluded that it's definitely a blessing. I totally agree. We totally, but it's just that you need to keep it in check, I would say, especially us human, because nowadays the adults are also addicted to it. So I guess you need to have control yourself. And a very good point Miss Anita shared, which is on limiting your time, social media time, and then the real life socializing time. That will be a good start for us to relook into whoever who are addicted to social media. it's time for you to check back on how your life is going and your social aspect of life is going, and carry the troubleshoot.
Yeah, I think it's also a responsibility.
Mhm.
You need to be a responsible social media user
Mhm.
in a way that don't allow yourself to be a victim
Yep.
of cybercrimes,
Mhm.
and at the same time, don't do anything that can hurt or discourage someone in
Yes,
social
that's
media.
exactly right. Yeah.
Just because you don't know them in person, it doesn't mean we can simply people like to give some comments that might hurt people.
Mhm.
But before they type in the comment, they
Mhm.
should put themselves in their shoes and think for a second whether what are the impact they can create from the comments or whatever. Because
Exactly.
people are too much into social media nowadays, and even a simple comment can ruin one day. So
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So, for for all of you guys, the
Yeah.
viewers who will be watching this after this, also there will be a recorded version of this video in our page, and also in our YouTube page, and in
LinkedIn,
our
Instagram.
LinkedIn, and
we also
Instagram.
have our social media revolution here.
Yeah. So, do share this
Follow,
content
yeah.
to your friends, your page, or so that they can get benefit from this discussion. And
Yeah.
we are here to discuss about social media from all angle, and definitely I in person definitely will encourage you guys to for those who are addicted to
How many
wake up.
of you wake up and go to bed without scrolling the newsfeed? I mean,
Yeah.
that's an addiction.
Yeah, I'm addicted
Yes,
to it at
I
the
did
moment.
the same.
But I'm in the
So-
process of coming up from
Reducing
this,
it?
and this topic definitely a wake up call for me. It gave me some
Yeah.
tips on how I can start. So for those who want to start balancing your life with the real life socializing and Facebook, I'm against Facebook, not Facebook, social media.
Yeah.
You can start from today, and from this show, from the tips we have shared from this show. So I guess that's all from
Mission
us.
accomplished today. We
Yes,
have
yes.
unzipped the topic on
Yeah.
social media revolution.
Social media revolution. So,
Yes.
signing off, I'm Ranjini.
And I'm Devapriya. Have a good night, guys.
Bye.
Bye.